This is a tough one. Where did polarity start? This whole idea of positive, negative, light, dark, right, wrong, hate, love. What was the benefits of that? I guess it depends on which side of the coin you're on. Are you on the side of love or hate? So I'm going to tell you from my perspective, of course, and you obviously, if it rings true to you, fantastic. If not, that's totally cool too. So this is what I know from my perspective. So where did polarity start? What happened? Why do we live in such a polarized system? Not just here in the United States or in this earthly realm, but it's also in the entire universe. Why do we fight? If we're all one and part of the same God, the same source, divine love, then why do we kill each other? Rape, murder, bully. Why? What was the point of that experience? And who did it benefit? See, I've gained a lot of information and downloads and knowledge and wisdom over the years because of who I am, because of what I'm here to do. I'm grateful for the knowledge, I'm grateful for the experience, but just because I am coming out of it and healing from it doesn't mean the experience was pleasant. For instance, if you lived a life of torment and torture, rape, would you be happy? A good person? How would you function? So what happened? Because from God's perspective, God wants growth. God wants expansion. God wants to create and expand into the void. God wouldn't create a system where life creates life and then destroys the life it creates. That doesn't sound like expansion or growth to me. It sounds like destruction. Sounds like just the opposite of that. So here's what happened. There are a couple of videos that I've done that I tell you how the universe was created. That was what was shown to me. I ask you to seek your own answers, your own truth. See if that is true for you. So God created the entities that created the universe, and those two entities began to add labels and definitions to themselves. They began to think. They began to create belief systems. This started in the ethereal plane, also known as the subconscious, the greater mind, if you will. Then from there, emotion was established, which is the astral plane, where the souls are created. In the ethereal plane is the angelic realm. Then from the souls in the astral plane and the emotions is the material plane, which is the manifestation of what we see today. So God's original ask of these two entities that it created was create life. Join together, build, create, advance, grow. Either as an individual, because you're both divine, or together, like a man and a woman would create children and either build together something amazing or destroy each other. Which, why would you destroy each other? But anyway, we'll get into that. So the fall of Samael fell from heaven. Heaven was the place where the two original creators that were created by God, that's where they resided, which was in the ethereal realm, which was heaven. But Samael got kicked out of heaven. Why? Well, because Samael went against God's wishes. And God's wishes was to create life with your mate in divine love. Not the love that we see here on this earthly plane of this earth. That's twisted love. It's conditional love, transactional love. It's convoluted with all kinds of traumas and issues and problems. That's not unconditional divine love. But as Samael started to think and believe, Samael decided that Samael wanted to not create from God as a God being, because as you understand that you are source, you create from that energy, because the energy that is all of this is source. But Samael decided that he didn't want to create that way. He wanted to be God and reign as God over all of it. And therefore he created the ego, split from himself, just like God split from itself, the two that created life. Samael did the same thing and split from itself, created the ego, the mask, the illusion, the false self, the false identity, the trickster, the copycat, the mirror. And this ego tricked the feminine and raped her repeatedly, traumatized, created a fear victim mentality. Just like we see over many lifetimes and cycles, and even here on this planet, the oppression and suppression of women. We don't have a God the Mother in the Bible. We only have a God the Father. That's weird. Name one household where it started with only a father. I guess moms weren't important. Or women being able to vote, or women being important in any society. You think that started here on earth? That mentality? Nope. That started a long time ago. And therefore the feminine fell into a victim spiral, apathy, quit, dark mentality. And the masculine actually, through raping the feminine, stealing the feminine innocence, just like we see here in the United States, but actually all over the world, these bigwigs, these elites, how they torture children, they beat them, they put them in fear, and then they rape them and they steal their innocence. Why? Because it's power. Where did they learn that from? The devil himself. You think the devil's not real? Think again. Think the devil doesn't exist? Think again. So that's what happened in the beginning. And that's how we got the predator-prey, narcissist, empath cycle. And the masculine has been feeding off of the feminine for eons, pretending to be the feminine, stealing ideas, creation, life force, energy innocence through the tactics of bully, torment, torture, rape, fear. It's interesting, the picture behind me, isn't it? God with the hand of Adam. Why would God only create one being and it only be a masculine being? Was a woman not important enough to create at that time? Or we have to create a woman from a man? See the storyline here? You have been programmed, conditioned, lied to in almost all of the belief systems, especially in the church and the spiritual. Because a lot of that shit just isn't true. So the masculine became a massive tyrant, a massive bully. Look at the world. How many female tyrants do we see in power? Can't really think of any at the moment. Can think a couple of masculine tyrants who view women as worthless, less than dogs, even cultures that do. The truth is that the feminine holds the power. She holds the power within her womb to create life, hence the painting of the Last Supper with the chalice. The masculine knew the feminine held the power, so he sought to control it. Because by raping the feminine, by taking her innocence, he disempowered her. And for any of you out there that know in this physical form or any form what it's like to be raped as a child by an adult, you know how horrible it is and how difficult it is to even attempt to heal it, let alone re-experience something that you don't even remember anymore. So God learned a very valuable lesson. Do not create a universe with only two entities that hold power, because what if them goes toxic? There's nowhere for the other to run to. The masculine went toxic, and then the feminine went toxic. And over these last couple of days, I've been dealing with this energy going into this nasty energy of hate. Because the masculine hated, at least the masculine ego, hated the feminine, wanted to destroy her. And so he poured all of his hate into her womb through sex. Over and over and over and over again, destroying and violating, becoming a virus in the system. And for you feminines out there who are watching this, be very careful about who you have sex with. Because you are taking in that energy. And if it's not through a positive, more positive, loving experience, you're going to hold on to that in you. So, the toxic masculine has been siphoning off the power off of the feminine for eons. But it's a mask. It's an illusion. Is the story an illusion as well? Maybe. But look around you. Is it real? Kinda. Do you feel the hate from other people? The love? Positive emotions? Negative emotions? Is it real? It was real enough to my greater self. Some might call it a soul. To me, it's my angelic self. It was real to her. Because the one being that she was created with, her partner, betrayed her, stole from her, ripped the life force out of her. For what? Power? Greed? The most loving entity in the universe was destroyed by a toxic, narcissistic ego that wanted to dominate and control and be God. You're not God. And the feminine is starting to wake up, and the ego and the mask is coming off, and all that hate that was dumped into the feminine for eons is going right back to the one who sent it. And the mask is going to come off. And ironically, over the last couple of days while I've been at work, I work in sales and I take calls. I was on 2 calls where a masculine was literally berating and bullying his feminine, calling her vile names and telling her how stupid she was. And I actually think the last one actually hit her. Why? Does that make you a man? You're weak. Why? Because mommy hurt you, daddy hurt you? Mommy and daddy hurt me too. Is there feminine toxicity out there too? Absolutely. Because once the water gets dumped with trash and oil and toxic chemicals, the whole fucking river, the whole universe is toxic. So how did we get polarized? It's because the divine masculine was greedy and decided it wanted to be God. And not from a place of divine love, but from a place of greed and control and dominance. But that's all starting to unravel now. Because as the energy balances and shifts, and the masculines and the feminines, but the masculines mainly that dump their toxic energy into the feminine, that's being returned to them. And they are being shown for the truth of who they are. And you're going to start seeing that more and more and more in the earthly realm. And the feminine is going to start to wake up and remember her divinity and create a new system with new beings, raising up everyone and everything around her, not dominating, not controlling. Nobody wins in that scenario. But expanding the energy out so that we all become divine creators, creating our own realities from our own perspective and freedom and love, divine love, which is what God's original intention was. I look forward to this mask coming off and us moving into a non-polaristic, non-duality system. Thank you for listening.